He drank water from an old cave pool. A whisper was heard from behind. "You don't know what you just did." The cave was not majestic when he found it. It wasn't the kind of place, with grand arches of stone, that made you want to whisper poetry. It was damp, dark, and smelled faintly of bad droppings, which was exactly the sort of perfume his life had been reduced to after 3 days, without fresh water. His canteen had run dry that morning, and every step he took had been accompanied by the sound of his own throat scratching itself. So when he stumbled into the cavern and heard the drip, drip, drip of something liquid echoing, it might as well have been a heavenly chorus. He crouched low, his knees cracking like old furniture, and peered into the gloom. The glow came first, a faint shimmer, as though someone had scattered starlight into a puddle. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, then swore at himself for thinking he was hallucinating. But the pool was real. A shallow basin cut into the rock, its surface trembling with faint silver-blue light. He muttered, "If this kills me, at least I won't die thirsty," and dipped his hands in. The water was cool, cleaner than any stream he'd ever tasted. He drank greedily, gulping like a man who thought he might never see liquid again. The first swallow was bliss. The second was fire. Not burning. Exactly. More like every nerve in his body had just remembered they existed and wanted to file a complaint. His spine snapped straight, his vision blurred, and a pulse of light ran through his arms like ink under his skin. He staggered back, gasping. His reflection in the water looked wrong, symbols glowing faintly on his face, curling around his cheekbones like someone had been doodling on him with neon markers. He had just enough time to mutter, "Well, that's new," before the whisper came. "You don't know what you just did." The voice was female, low, and filled with something sharp, half threat, half tremor. He spun around, nearly tripping over a rock, and squinted into the shadows. For a moment, he saw nothing. Then the shape stepped forward, and he decided it was official. He was either dead, dreaming, or had licked the wrong kind of mushroom on the way here. She looked human, almost. Too human, in that uncanny way that made your brain hesitate. Her ears were long, tapering elegantly above her head, twitching slightly like they were catching vibrations he couldn't hear. Her eyes reflected the pool's glow, galaxies folded into two irises. Her hair slid down her shoulders in strands that shimmered faintly with color when the light touched them. She moved with the kind of balance you only saw in dancers or predators. And then she spoke again, leaning forward slightly as though testing how fragile he was. "You drank from the binding pool. That water was not meant for you." He raised a finger, still trembling from the aftershock of whatever had lit his veins. "Okay, first of all, I didn't see a sign. Second, you can't blame a guy for being thirsty. And third, do you live here? Because if so, your housekeeping skills need serious improvement." Her ears twitched again. Was that amusement or irritation? Hard to tell. Her lips curled faintly. "You are bound now. My fate is your fate." "That sounds expensive," he said quickly, holding up both hands. "Look, I'm not really in the market for whatever this is. Roommate? Life partner? Blood sacrifice? Honestly, my last relationship ended because she said I couldn't commit to watering the plants. I don't think I'm ready for mystical glowing cave duty." She tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle piece that had been shoved into the wrong box. Then she stepped closer, and the ground beneath his feet vibrated faintly. The pool shimmered brighter, its light casting the walls in spirals of silver. Symbols pulsed on his skin again, matching the glow in her gaze. Her voice softened, though the tremor of authority never left. "From this moment on, your life is mine." The cave rumbled, dust raining from the ceiling. His first thought was, "I'm hallucinating." His second, "If she's serious, does that mean I can't date anyone else?" He said, trying not to look as terrified as he felt. "Do you come with, like, an instruction manual? Because I really don't know how to handle the whole life is mine thing. Does this involve chores? Cooking? Because, fair warning, my idea of a hot meal is reheated noodles." She blinked slowly, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of humor cross her sharp features. "You joke to hide your fear." "Of course I do. You'd be surprised how effective that is. People expect screaming, not sarcasm." The rumbling stilled. For a long moment, only the dripping echoed in the cave. Then she stepped fully into the glow of the pool, her long ears quivering slightly as if they were listening to more than his words. She looked younger now, less divine menace and more weary. "You released me," she said quietly. "And now, whether you wish it or not, you walk with me." The waters chose. He rubbed his temples, muttering under his breath, "Great. Fantastic. I drink one sip of alien Gatorade, and suddenly I'm married to a space elf." Her ears twitched again, unmistakably this time. A laugh, short, sharp, escaped her, though she covered it quickly with a tilt of her chin. "You are foolish, but perhaps foolishness will keep you alive." The pool's glow brightened, symbols across the walls beginning to stir like veins of light. He stared at them, then at her, then back at his glowing hands. He sighed. "So, just to clarify, I'm not dying today." She stepped closer, her gaze locking into his. "No, today you begin." And as the cave shuddered once more, the air humming with unseen power, he thought back to the moment he drank from the pool. Of all the mistakes he'd ever made, this one was by far the most beautiful, and probably the most dangerous. He sat on a rock, still staring at his hands. The glow hadn't faded. Every few seconds, the lines shimmered faintly, curling and shifting like they were alive. He tried rubbing them with his sleeve, then licking his thumb and scrubbing harder, but the symbols only pulsed brighter, as if mocking his efforts. "Perfect," he muttered. "I've basically been turned into a living glow stick. This is exactly how I wanted my week to go." She watched him with her head tilted, ears angled forward, like antennae catching invisible signals. "They will not fade," she said flatly. He pointed at her. "Yes, thank you, Dr. Obvious. Next you'll tell me water is wet, and that you've secretly cursed me with a tattoo subscription service." She blinked, her lips twitching. "Your humor is misplaced." "My humor is the only thing keeping me from panicking right now," he said, standing and pacing a few steps. "Look, I was having a bad day already. Lost my pack. Lost my way. And now I've apparently gained you. No offense, but this isn't exactly the rescue I had in mind." Her ears flicked back slightly, and she stepped closer. He noticed she moved like water itself, fluid, no wasted effort. "You think you chose this," she said, voice soft but edged. "But it is the pool that chose you." "Yeah, see, here's the thing. Pools don't choose people. Pools are for swimming, and occasionally for embarrassing cannonballs. Whatever this is, it's above my pay grade." The symbols flared again, brighter this time, and the walls of the cave responded. Lines of light spread across the stone like veins of silver, branching out into tunnels he hadn't noticed before. The ground trembled under his boots, not violently, but like the earth was stretching after a long sleep. He froze. Oh no. Don't tell me I just turned on the cave." "You awakened it," she said simply. "Of course I did." He threw his arms up. "Why not? I can't even fix a toaster. But sure, let's make me the guy who reboots ancient alien caves." Her gaze lingered on him, and something softened in it. "You are amusing." "Thanks. I aim to amuse when I'm not screaming internally." The glowing veins of light began to move down one of the tunnels, like a trail of starlight leading somewhere. She turned toward it, her long ears twitching again. "We must follow." He stared at her, then at the glowing tunnel, then back at her. "Do we have to? Because I'm still holding out hope that this is just food poisoning, and I'll wake up in about 10 minutes. She stepped forward without answering, expecting him to follow. He sighed, muttering, "Great. Kidnapped by an alien elf with a questionable sense of personal boundaries. Mom always warned me this would happen." The tunnel opened into a vast chamber, the ceiling so high it vanished into darkness. The light pooled into strange patterns across the floor, forming circles and spirals that pulsed in rhythm with his skin. He stepped onto one by accident, and the floor hummed, a low thrumming sound that vibrated up through his legs. The hum grew louder, resonating with his heartbeat. Machines hidden in the walls began to stir, gears grinding after centuries of silence. Panels unfolded like petals, releasing puffs of cold vapor. He backed up quickly. Okay. Nope. Big nope. This looks exactly like the part of the movie where the guy dies first. She ignored his protest and moved forward, stepping gracefully across the glowing spirals. This was not meant to awaken until the stars aligned again. Your presence has altered it. Good. Fantastic. I'm breaking cosmic schedules now. Do I get a bill in the mail? Or is the interstellar IRS going to come knocking? The chamber shifted again, a central platform rising slowly, with a grinding of stone and metal. At its peak hovered something that looked like a crystal, but larger than his torso, spinning gently as if suspended by invisible threads. Its core pulsed in time with the marks on his skin. He squinted at it. That looks suspiciously like something that's either going to explode or give me superpowers. And I have terrible luck with both. She stepped closer to the crystal, her expression unreadable. This is the heart. It is the prison that bound me, and now it is tied to you. He rubbed his face with both hands. Right, because why wouldn't it be? Just once, I'd like to drink from a cave pool and not unleash an alien curse. The crystal pulsed brighter, sending arcs of light through the chamber. Symbols danced across the walls, alien letters shifting like they were alive. His marks burned, not painfully, but with an insistent heat. He said nervously. Is this normal? Or am I about to spontaneously combust? Because I'd like to know before I make any big plans. She looked at him, her gaze steady, her ears quivering faintly. You are the key now. Without you, this place will collapse. His eyes widened. Me? No. You got the wrong guy. I barely know how to fix a leaky faucet. Trusting me with intergalactic infrastructure is a terrible idea. Her lips curved faintly, the shadow of a smile breaking through her solemn mask. And yet here you are. The hum of the chamber deepened, wrapping around him like invisible chains. He realized with a sinking feeling that no amount of sarcasm was going to get him out of this. Whatever had started with a sip of glowing water was now spiraling into something far bigger. He looked at her, at the long ears catching every shift in the air, at the faint glimmer in her eyes that was half warning, half relief. He swallowed hard. Fine, but if this ends with me being vaporized, I'm haunting you. She blinked once, slowly, and said, I welcome the company. The chamber pulsed again, light filling every crack and crevice. And together, they stood on the edge of something ancient awakening, a bond neither of them had asked for but neither could break. The platform beneath his feet shifted again, tilting slightly as if testing his balance. He flailed, arms pinwheeling, and barely avoided falling into a groove of glowing spirals that looked suspiciously like they were designed to fry clumsy humans. Okay, he muttered, steadying himself. This place definitely wasn't built with OSHA regulations in mind. The alien woman stood calm and unmoving on the same platform, her ears angled forward, catching the vibrations that filled the chamber. The heart responds to you, she said evenly. Yeah, I noticed. He shot back. It's like having a stalker, except it glows and threatens to rearrange my molecules. The crystal rotated faster, shedding shards of light that dissolved before they touched the ground. He squinted at it, then at the markings that still pulsed along his arms. So, quick question. What happens if I don't know, poke it? Does the universe collapse, or do I just get electrocuted? Do not touch it. Her tone was sharp enough to slice. He held up his hands quickly. Right. No touching the alien death crystal. Got it. I'll just add that to my growing list of rules, somewhere between don't panic and never trust glowing cave water. The platform began to descend, lowering them into another chamber. The walls here were covered in panels of strange machinery, most of them dormant, but a few flickering to life as they passed. He caught glimpses of alien script scrolling across translucent surfaces, images of stars and shapes he didn't recognize. He muttered, This looks like the inside of a starship. Please tell me this isn't the part where the engines turn on and we blast into space, because I didn't pack a toothbrush. Her ears twitched slightly, which he had come to recognize as her version of laughter. You would not survive the jump without preparation. Comforting, he said dryly. Good to know I'll at least die messy and unprepared. Story of my life. The platform touched down with a soft thud. Another passage opened ahead, the light from his skin rippling across the doorway like a key unlocking it. He hesitated. You sure about this? Because last time we followed glowing tunnels, I nearly got turned into toast. She stepped forward, ignoring his hesitation. The path opens only for you. That is the design. Fantastic, he grumbled, trudging after her. I always wanted to be a walking password. The corridor stretched long, filled with faint hums and the occasional burst of light from the walls. At one point, a panel slid open beside him, revealing a floating sphere that buzzed loudly before darting away into the shadows. He nearly jumped out of his skin. What was that? A sentinel, she said calmly. Great. Love the sound of that. Do they come with friendly greetings or just laser beams? They monitor. They will not harm you. For now. For now, he repeated. That's really reassuring. I'll sleep well tonight with that knowledge. The corridor ended at a massive door, its surface carved with swirling patterns that looked alive. The symbols on his arms flared brighter, and the door shuddered before slowly opening. Inside was a chamber even larger than the one before, its floor dominated by a vast circular console. At its center hovered a projection of stars, galaxies spinning in impossible detail. The image flickered, stabilizing as the symbols on his skin pulsed in time. He stared, jaw-dropping. Okay, I'll admit it. This is actually kind of amazing. She stepped beside him, her eyes reflecting the star field. This is the map. The pool was its key. You are now its bearer. The map. He rubbed his temples. Of course it's a map, because what I really needed in my life was responsibility for cosmic cartography. Do I at least get frequent flyer miles? The projection shifted suddenly, zooming in on a region of stars. One blinked red, pulsing angrily. His marks burned hotter as the projection focused on it. She stiffened. They know. Who knows? Her ears flicked back, her voice low. The ones who imprison me. They will come now that the heart stirs. They will sense the awakening. He groaned. So let me get this straight. I drink some bad space water, unlock an ancient alien cave, light up like a Christmas tree, and now we're on some galactic most wanted list. Her lips curved faintly. You summarize well. The projection flickered again, showing dark shapes moving toward the glowing star. He didn't need her to explain. The threat was obvious. Right, he said, backing away from the console. So what's the plan? Because I vote for running away really fast. There is no running, she said firmly. You are bound. The heart, the map, and I are tied to you. If you flee, they will find you anyway. He rubbed his face. Of course. Figures. Can't even escape my own problems on another planet. She stepped closer, her gaze steady. You must accept this bond, or you will die. He looked at her, then at the stars shifting above them. His skin glowed brighter, the marks burning with energy he didn't understand. He sighed heavily. Fine, but if this ends with me fighting space pirates, I expect a cool uniform, and maybe a cape. Her ears twitched, unmistakably amused this time. A cape would suit your foolishness. The map pulsed once more, locking onto their position, and as the chamber rumbled with awakening machinery, he realized he had just agreed to something far bigger than himself, something that was already dragging him into a conflict he barely understood. The rumble started small, like a giant clearing its throat somewhere deep in the planet. The man had just managed to convince himself that maybe, just maybe, the heart and the map weren't going to explode his head off when the floor beneath them vibrated. His hands shot out instinctively to grab a railing that wasn't there. Fantastic, he muttered. Gravity is now optional. That's just what I needed today. She didn't flinch. Her long ears twitched, catching the low frequencies that his human ears couldn't even detect. They are coming, she said, calm, almost clinical. He frowned. You mean like door-to-door salesman day? Or galaxy annihilation day? The latter, she replied, stepping closer, her hands brushing lightly over the console as if coaxing it to life. Symbols on his arms pulsed in time with the starfield projection. You activated the heart. Its signal reaches farther than you can imagine. And now the watchers respond. He groaned, burying his face in his hands. I drink water. I die. I don't even get a thank you card. Her lips curved faintly. You underestimate your usefulness. Ah, useful. That explains why my last boss never promoted me, he said dryly, muttering to himself. And now apparently the universe wants me for interstellar duty. The console flashed suddenly, throwing images of massive ships, dark and angular, moving toward their coordinates. Yes, she said softly. They are here. He blinked. Oh, perfect. This is that part in movies where everyone shouts, lasers go everywhere, and I accidentally pressed the self-destruct button. Do not touch anything, she warned. He held up both hands. Right. No touching anything. I learned my lesson. Lesson 1. Never sip alien cave water. Lesson 2. Never listen to pretty space elves. Lesson 3. He trailed off, staring at the projection. Actually, Lesson 3 is probably going to be how to get vaporized in 3-2. She ignored the panic, placing her hands on the controls. The symbols on his skin pulsed in tandem, forming patterns that matched the heart of the console. Together, she said, we can awaken the ship fully. Only then can we hope to defend ourselves. Together, he repeated, half hopeful, half horrified. Oh, perfect. So not only do I have glowing tattoos that scream plot device, I also have to co-pilot a potentially hostile starship with someone who makes me look like a caveman. You will manage, she said simply, and he suspected that manage meant barely survive without embarrassing yourself. The console hummed, panels shifting, gears grinding in response to the dual energy of their bond. He pressed a random button, just to see what would happen, and a holographic display shot up, showing alien star systems in impossible detail. Whoa, he whispered. This is actually incredible. Do I get a prize for not dying yet? You are still alive, she replied, arching an eyebrow. That is your prize. He scowled. Oh, joy. I get survival. How generous of the universe. A sudden vibration shook the chamber as a massive projection flickered to life, showing dozens of approaching ships. Dark, sleek, and bristling with weaponry. They are faster than we expected, she said, ears twitching. He leaned against the console. Yeah, no kidding. I haven't even learned your name yet, and I already owe you my life. Great start to any friendship. I am Lasara, she said. And you are. He stared at her for a moment. Right, forgot the basic introductions, while potentially facing galactic annihilation. I'm a Dave. Just Dave. She repeated, testing the sound. Her long ears twitched, and she smiled faintly. Very well, Dave. You are the key. Without you, the heart cannot function fully. He raised both eyebrows. I'm the key. Fantastic. I can barely manage my apartment keys. Now I'm the key to a spaceship alien prison. Universe, you really are cruelly consistent. She moved to a control panel, guiding his hands to hover over the holographic interface. Focus. The heart responds to your energy. You control the map. Together we can awaken the ship fully and counter them. He swallowed hard, staring at the projections of alien fleets closing in. Okay, let's do this. But just so you know, if we die horribly, I'm haunting you. Also, I get to call all the shots when it comes to snacks. Very well, she said, amused. Symbols on his skin pulsed stronger, forming intricate geometric patterns. Energy ran along the floor, connecting the console, the heart, and him. The chamber trembled. He felt a rush of power, terrifying and exhilarating. Oh, great. I'm glowing even brighter now. Perfect. I look like a radioactive disco ball. Do not fear it, Lasara said. Your fear will not serve you. Trust in the bond. He gritted his teeth. Trust in the bond. Right. Bonding time. Just don't crush me in some ancient alien ritual or anything, okay? She stepped closer, her hand brushing lightly against his arm, and he felt the energy surge through him. Control it, she said. Control the heart. He concentrated, focusing on the patterns, the flow of energy, the pulse of the ship beneath them. Slowly, painfully, the humming softened into a rhythm he could manage. The projections of stars and ships stabilized. The approaching enemy vessel slowed in the hologram, as if held back by some invisible barrier. He opened his mouth, about to speak, then thought better of it and muttered instead, "Well, that wasn't so bad. I almost didn't die." Lasara's lips quirked into a faint smile. Almost is enough. He exhaled, realizing that he was still trembling from the adrenaline. Almost is fine. Let's stick with that for now. Maybe after this, we can negotiate coffee breaks. She laughed softly, a sound like chimes in a breeze. We shall see, Dave. We shall see. The chamber pulsed one final time, light spreading across the walls like veins of energy. The heart fully awakened, the map stabilized, and the alien fleet looming in the projection froze, stalled by the energy of their combined bond. Dave stared at her, half in awe, half terrified. "Okay," he said. "So now what? Do we fight, run, or take a nap?" "None of the above," Lasara said, her gaze sharp and unwavering. "We survive, and then we take the fight to them." He swallowed, nodded, and muttered under his breath. "And I thought last week was bad. Universe, you really do have a twisted sense of humor." The enemy fleet had finally arrived. Dark, angular ships lined up in formation, their weapons glowing like the eyes of predators. Dave's hands hovered over the controls of the awakened ship, every pulse of energy from the heart responding to his touch. He glanced at Lasara, who stood beside him, long ears angled forward, eyes gleaming with anticipation and faint amusement. "You know," he said, "for all this doom and gloom, you're awfully calm." She raised an eyebrow. "I am prepared." "Prepared," he repeated. "Right, because I'm just here for the glowing tattoos and cosmic paperwork." She smirked faintly. "You amuse me." Dave's fingers danced over the console, each movement sinking the energy between him, the heart, and the map. The alien fleet advanced, but the ship beneath them seemed alive, responding like a coiled spring. "Okay," he muttered. "Let's see if a glorified radioactive disco ball can save the galaxy." Lasara stepped forward, placing her hand lightly on his arm. "You can do this. Trust yourself." He swallowed, taking a deep breath. "Trust myself." "Right, because trusting the guy who drank forbidden cave water is a brilliant strategy." The first volley of energy beams struck their shields. The ship trembled, lights flickering across the control panels. Dave's glowing marks pulsed faster, resonating with the ship's defenses. "Oh great, they're aiming straight at me. I've always wanted to be the center of attention in a life-or-death scenario." Lasara pressed her hands onto the console, directing energy into the shields. "Focus on the patterns. Let the heart guide you." He followed her instructions, eyes darting across the symbols. Slowly, the shield strengthened, reflecting the enemy fire. "Okay, that's new. I think I like this. I'm officially a cosmic bouncer." A wave of alien ships attempted to flank them, but Dave's connection to the heart allowed him to anticipate their moves. He laughed, half from exhilaration, half from nervousness. "You know, I never thought I'd get good at this. Or alive, for that matter. Who knew a sip of cave water would lead to this?" Lasara's gaze softened as she watched him adapt. "You have grown, Dave. You have become more than you imagined." "More than I imagined?" He pressed a sequence of buttons, redirecting energy beams that disarmed two attacking ships. "Lasara, I am still the guy who burns toast every morning, but I'll take Cosmic Hero if it comes with coffee breaks." The battle raged, but each strike they countered made them stronger. Dave's confidence grew, his humor keeping the tension at bay. He realized that the fear he had felt in the cave, the panic when the symbols first glowed, had transformed into something else, purpose. The enemy flagship, larger and more menacing than the others, approached. Its weapons glowed with a pulse that threatened to overwhelm their shields. "That's the big guy," Dave muttered. "All hail the overlord of doom." Lasara's lips curved. "Then we remove it." Together, they channeled the energy of the heart, weaving it through the map. Dave directed the flow, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath him. The stars themselves seemed to bend, guiding their strike. A beam of pure energy shot from the ship, hitting the flagship dead center. It shattered like glass, disintegrating into nothing. Dave blinked. Well, that was satisfying. The remaining fleet faltered, seeing their command destroyed. One by one, the ships withdrew, retreating into the void. Dave sank into the console chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Okay, he said. So apparently I saved the galaxy. Again, universe. Your sense of irony is spectacular. Lasara approached, her long ears brushing against his shoulder lightly. You have done well, Dave. You have embraced a bond, and you have learned to trust in yourself. He looked at her, the adrenaline still coursing through him. I never thought I'd be capable of any of this. But I guess when glowing cave tattoos pick you as the key, you either rise or become alien roadkill. She smiled, a mixture of amusement and something softer, warmer. You have risen. The heart pulsed one final time, settling into a calm rhythm. The map's projections dimmed, returning to a dormant state. Dave's marks faded slowly, leaving only faint traces on his skin. He felt different, not just stronger, but more certain, more connected. So, he said, stretching his arms and flexing. Do I get a medal? A parade? Maybe a lifetime supply of coffee? You have gained experience, Lasara replied. That is your reward. He groaned. Experience is fine, I guess, but I still vote for the coffee. Lasara laughed, a sound that made the stars themselves seem to shimmer. Perhaps, she said, we shall find time for such things. Dave leaned back, finally relaxing, watching the calm of space through the viewport. You know, he said quietly, I think I've learned something important. And what is that? That even when life, or glowing cave pools, throws you into insane situations, sometimes you survive, sometimes you actually grow, and sometimes you even enjoy it, if only a little. Lasara nodded. And you are no longer alone. The bond endures, and together we are stronger. He glanced at her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. I guess being someone's key isn't so bad after all. She extended her hand. Come. He took it, feeling the warmth of their connection. The ship hummed softly beneath them, a living testament to their bond and courage. Dave realized that the man who had wandered into a forgotten cave, thirsty and lost, had become someone capable of facing impossible odds, and emerging not only alive, but transformed. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. Adventure waited, but for the first time, Dave felt ready. Not afraid, not overwhelmed. Ready. Let's see what the universe has next, he said, a grin breaking across his face. Lasara's ears twitched in agreement. Together. And together they stepped into the ship, into the light of the awakened heart, and into a future shaped by courage, laughter, and the unlikeliest of heroes. The cave, the pool, the whispers, all of it had led here. And Dave knew, for the first time, that even in the vastness of space, he was exactly where he was meant to be.